mourn the loss of his mother. And as we mourn, we must come together as a people to support him, to help him bear the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him...
What responsibility? Well, if it's just ceremonial, well, it really means nothing. It's just to get people to come pay money and see. What responsibility would that be? Except he have to go wave at some people, say some speeches. Nah, they know what the responsibility is, to try to keep white supremacy alive and try to keep their empire ticking. That's the responsibility that Charles have right now.
Our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long.
Across the world, nations paid tribute to the Queen. In a statement, President Biden described the Queen as, quote, a stateswoman of unmatched dignity and constancy who deepened the bedrock alliance between the United Kingdom and the United States.
Dignity? What? See, they have no shame. They don't give a damn what they've done to you or your people. They don't give a damn about the trillions of dollars, 45 trillion from India that they suck by themselves, and about 200 trillion from Africa. They don't give a damn about that. They say she is dignified. You see, these the same people told you George Washington is an honorable man, and I told you he was a pedophile who raped little girls, killed whoever he wanted, bloodthirsty maniac who beat, lynched, and hanged people at his whim. What's so great about that? That's outrageous.
Unquote. On Thursday, signed a condolence book at the British Embassy in Washington, D.C., and spoke briefly about the Queen.
I had the opportunity to meet her before she passed, and she was an incredibly gracious and decent woman. The thoughts and prayers of the American people are with the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in their grief.
The death of Queen Elizabeth has also led to new calls for Britain to make amends for colonial-era crimes. Carnegie Mellon professor Uju Anya made headlines Thursday for her sharp criticism of the Queen. The Nigerian-born professor wrote, quote, if anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch who supervised a government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half my family, and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon a star. In a separate tweet, Professor Uju Anya wrote, quote, I heard the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying. May her pain be excruciating. Twitter removed her tweet. Birmingham City University professor Kehinde Andrews, who is of British African Caribbean heritage, also reflected Thursday.
So let me get this right. Right now on Twitter, you can tweet about killing Russians. Ukrainians killing those Russians and all kind of derogatory stuff about Russians, but you cannot tweet about a genocidal maniac who killed hundreds, who her empire has killed hundreds of millions, maybe 1 billion people alone, who rule more than 25% of this planet. Nobody has killed more people than the British Empire. You can't tell the truth or your tweet get removed. That's outrageous. Like I say, can't nobody tell me Hitler was anything less of a terrorist than she was. That's you putting other people's pain over your own. You don't put other people's pain over your own. I don't give a damn about Hitler. These are the terrorists we talking about. Hitler's a young punk who he killed a couple of million. That's a drop in the bucket compared to these murderers.
On the Queen's legacy.
I guess it depends what you think a good job at being Queen is. So if a good job of being Queen is to represent white supremacy and to represent that link to colonialism, then yeah, I think she's done a very good job. And I think if you look at the royal family as an institution, I mean, it's still very, very strong. It's weathered some heavy storms, including Prince Andrew, Meghan Markle and all this, and still going strong. And she's still very, very popular. So I guess on a has she kept the image of the royal family mafia very, very established? Then yes, I think she's done a good job.
To talk more about the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the future of the British monarchy, we're joined by...
She did a good job, just like America did a good job in tricking y'all into believing you actually anything other than of their slave people here. Their subjects, I mean. They fooled you into believing you actually have a chance up under them. When you barely can get a conviction on a cop murdering you when your people have nothing in their hand, they got you feeling like maybe it's your fault. What did you do? You see? So the facade that she kept up with her empire is that, listen, the British Empire is in the bosom of the American Empire right now. Let's get this right. The British military is pathetically weak. It is the American military who is now trying to conquer everything in its way. Only thing standing in its way is Russia, China, now Iran in the Middle East. You need to salute Cuba. Like people have been saying, they laughed and praised the death of Fidel Castro. You shouldn't have went along with that. That was a great leader who helped your people in South Africa. They locked Nelson Mandela up and said he was a mad dog. Ronald Reagan said Nelson Mandela was a mad dog who needed to be put down. He said that one and called him a terrorist. See, your leaders is terrorists, but the people who killing your people, raping them and butchering them and murdering them, they talking about these are great people who should be admired. Muammar Gaddafi, he had his whole country, he brought the literacy up. Everybody was fed. Everybody got jobs. Everybody got revenue from the oil into their accounts monthly. But he was a dictator who had to die. And guess what? Inconveniently, once he died, your people got put back in bondage. Slavery went back on. But it's nothing to see here. But she's honorable. I'll be damned.
By British journalist Ash Sarkar. Harvard professor Maya Jasanoff, whose New York Times guest essay is headlined "Mourn the Queen, Not Her Empire," and University of Cambridge professor Priya Gopal, author of Insurgent Empire, Anti-Colonial Resistance and British Descent. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! Professor Gopal, let's begin.
Remember, these people didn't mourn Dr. King. They call him Dr. Coon. People had to beg for Dr. King holiday. They did not mourn Dr. King. You need to remember this. They don't give a damn about your people. So you got to give. You talking about give? Yeah, a lot of y'all in the streets giving brothers and sisters that same energy. Let's give these colonial invaders, these imperialist bastards, these genocidal maniacs. Let's give them that same energy. I will
Begin with you. Your thoughts on the death of the longest reigning British monarch, Queen Elizabeth II.
Well, it is the end of a long, eventful, rich life of a person who had a ringside seat at many important global events and indeed a role in those events. I find myself appreciating the circumstances in which she passed. She had good care. She had good medical supervision. She was in secure shelter in a place that she loved. And I am glad for that.
I'm not. Old school, eye for an eye. She should have got done. She should have got done in her, or she done on other people. But guess what? That will fall upon her lineage then. But I feel no comfort in me knowing that she didn't get ripped from limb to limb, or she didn't get her head chopped off like in the old days they would have done to the king and the queen when they were tired of the disgusting ass.
I do wonder whether, given the state that Britain is in today, which is in a state of crisis preceding her passing, whether many British pensioners will have the same easeful passing this winter. I fear not. I think many people will be in insecure housing, without heat, potentially without food, and certainly without immediate access to good medical care. So I'm really struck by the distinction or the difference between the circumstances of Queen Elizabeth's passing and what many of her subjects may have to endure this coming winter in a country where, the monarchy really has come to represent the deep and profound and grave inequality and gap that is going to be a problem in the months to come.
Ash Sarkar, you're on the ground there in London. You're a journalist, a contributing editor at Novara Media. What is your response to the death and the legacy of Queen Elizabeth?
Well, I suppose my personal response is one of curiosity, interest. There are very few moments that could be described as truly historic, but the death of Britain's longest reigning monarch is, of course, definitely historic. We tend to measure our periods of historical time here in the UK by kings and queens rather than other things that might be going on politically. So it is, I think, pretty central to our national self-image. I think one thing to perhaps explain for American viewers is just how top-down and choreographed the national mourning is. When Princess Diana died in 1997, it was very much a bottom-up outpouring of grief. You had people spontaneously laying flowers outside Buckingham Palace, and in fact, the palace was very surprised by the emotional response which was offered up by the country. When the
Hold on, y'all. Hey, we got a guest in the audience. Up, y'all. Y'all give that brother some attention if y'all want to talk to him. Don't kick him out. Don't block him. He loves what's happening in Ukraine. He loves the neo-Nazis. Hold on, let me put him up here. This dude, he loves the neo-Nazis. He's here trying to tell us to love Massa, which he loved Massa because he is Massa. Don't ever forget, y'all. I told y'all they ain't here spying. They ain't here watching. They want to watch my revolutionary message to break it down and make sure that the Department of Homeland Security get it. I don't give a damn about the Department of Homeland goddamn Security. Nigga, what the hell they think they is? Nigga, these mere mortals. They fucking with immortal. Y'all let these people know, this man right here know that we don't give a damn about the imperialist queen. We don't give her that energy. You talking about immolating the oppressor. Boy, they all will be gone. We ain't gonna do Nat Turner to them. What we is gonna do, we're gonna take it back to, we want our own. We don't want to eat in your burger place. You have your own burger place. You get that? We don't want your tire shop. You have your own tire shop. We don't want to go in your shopping center. We have our own shopping center. The hell with your park. We go to our own park. How about that? That's a great thing to do. That's a great thing to do. We're gonna have to go on back. We're gonna have to bag. Give me 50 feet. R.I.P. Big Ho. Feel what I'm saying? Like R.I.P. Big Ho. Bag. Take y'all bag back for a second. Like I said, actors, ball players, athletes, Jigga, I don't believe you're worth no billion. Dr. Dre, you neither. LeBron James, you neither. Because we know that resources things. You have booked your wealth onto fictitious fiat currency. Y'all better goddamn me. I want to see y'all with hundreds of millions in vital resources on this planet. That is where the market going to. And any of y'all who've been paying attention to the market, I do have people with me that said, look at the things like that. I'm going to drop a little tip. Look in the copper. Woo, it's going to be going up to the moon. Why? Because they cutting off Russia and China, and they're going to be needing those valuable resources. But LeBron James and these athletes, they don't give a damn about us. We still can go outside, and we still got all these for sale signs. They don't give a damn about no gentrification. I can send these people, and we tired of these athletes saying we start our own school. If you got the same curriculum in it that the imperialists got in it, you ain't did nothing. You're just trying to get some tax breaks. If you're teaching the exact same thing they teaching in your curriculum, the hell with you in your school. We got to have a whole new blueprint, a whole new plan. You can't let your enemy train you. This go back thousands of years. The Kemetic kings, the Kemites used to do this. They'll go to other lands, they will go to your land, take your sons and daughters, raise them in the house of the pharaohs like they told you about Moses. This is a true story. Send them back and then rule you. And the wisdom of the people of the Nile Valley. People want about certain things are popping up places because they kidnap the kings, take them back to rule. Now they gonna be humble and they gonna always be benevolent to the Kemitic kings, the Kemetic kings. See, that's what's going on with our people. You're getting all y'all learned individuals. Some of y'all get so arrogant with your, let me see what's on a bunch of y'all wall, brother. I got this degree from that place. My bachelor's. Yeah, brother, who taught you that crap? Now, I know you do have to go somewhere to financially get yourself in order. Now, I'm not saying don't play the financial game. I'm saying, boy, don't think you learned because you went into the house of imperialism and to sat up under the teacher of genocide. What are you talking about? No. I'm already negotiating, discussing stuff right now in my city, real time. I've been sat down with them, they want to give me a building. But as soon as this is the first thing they asked me, they said, you can get this building, that building. My brother tell you, they asked me, like, what you want to teach? I said, they got to know thyself. Huh? What? Know thyself? You goddamn right. And at the time, I'm not going to lie, it was in 2013, so I didn't have the blueprint. But what I knew was, the first thing I want little brothers who come in there and coming off them streets to understand is, they not no gang member. Ain't no me versus you. That's bullshit. Them is the demon. Righteous versus unrighteous. Just versus unjust. That is what we got to understand. That's the battle. And guess what? The imperialists on that side. Y'all all know all skin folk ain't kin folk. Cool. Well, boy, I want to preach on how. Let me get back to the regular scheduled program.
the Queen dies, it is a different thing. The BBC immediately changes its programming, so there will be no comedies being scheduled between now and the funeral. Even the music on the radio changes to more somber playlists. Television presenters are all dressed in black, and even though this isn't something which is directed by either the government or royal protocol, public events like football matches are being suspended. Now, one of the really critical things is that parliamentary business is also suspended. One of the things that Priya mentioned is that we are, of course, in the middle of this dreadful cost of living crisis. One of the main causes behind that is that energy bills are out of control. Now, Parliament will be suspended perhaps for 7 days, perhaps for 10. And depending on how those days are calculated, whether it's like business days or whether it's like calendar days, that could mean that the opportunity to pass the legislation needed to control energy prices, that window of opportunity closes. Now, the government will be negotiating with the palace in order to try and make the time to pass that legislation. But I think very few people would consider it an ideal political system where an elective government effectively has to haggle with the institution of the royal family, the institution of the palaces, in order to get vital governmental business done.
And Professor Maya Jasanoff, you wrote this piece in the New York Times, the headline being, "More in the Queen, Not Her Empire." Talk about the Queen and the empire.
The Queen was born into a world that looked radically different in certain ways from the one that she departed yesterday. She, was born in 1926 at a time when something on the order of one.
Hell no, that's more white supremacy. See, you gotta watch sometimes where you get your message. That's why Cultfigga know how to deal with it. Hell no, I will not mourn the Queen, and I definitely won't mourn her goddamn empire. That's like some of the Germans say, mourn Hitler, but don't mourn the Third Reich. You can mourn Hitler the man, but don't mourn the Third Reich. What the hell are you talking about? No. Everything she did, everything they've done, you've done it in with the benefit of the imperialists who came before you, and you've done it knowing that the imperialists who after you will benefit from it. No, hell no. She is guilty as hell, and you can't mourn her. You see, they can. Some of their lineage gonna go back to some of these people. This is why you gotta watch what they're telling you. They will always mourn their own. You don't get to mourn your own. You don't get to praise your own. That's why right now they're trying to dirt it and throw dirt on any one of your ancestors who leave this planet. Salute, Queen, who leave this planet. So you gotta understand that they still gonna slip into us. Well, just understand that the Queen, she, you gotta understand the times they were living in. Oh, the hell with that. Tomorrow, if I kill a man today, will you tell me next week? Can I tell you, man, you gotta understand the times of last week, bro. It was going down out there in the streets. You don't get to do that. You see, they're always trying to move forward. It's always gonna be another day when you don't sell up today. Then they get to say, hey, man. So now Prince Charles, King Charles is saying, I didn't do none of that. Come on, let's just move on. Bygones be bygones. Y'all is my Commonwealth subjects. We used to get 90%. Now we just going to take 65% off the top subject. I'm still the sovereign of Canada, Australia, Jamaica, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana. Still the sovereign, man. Salute to my British revolutionary Da Vinci. He's saying down with the Queen. The Cultfigga Da Vinci over there saying, the hell with her, man. He's smoking on that. Excuse me, we don't like to smoke on the dead here. But I'm gonna make a little rule that just today. We smoke on that Queen Kush. You want to hear me lie to y'all? Think I'm playing? The hell with that bitch. See, I don't give a damn what them people do. They ain't gonna put this in the algorithm. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what they say. I'm always tell the truth. Those are imperialists. But I'm gonna get back to what this message I want y'all to get. But them are imperialists. You got every right to say the hell with her. Can she burn in hell? Our people felt the flames of their bayonets and their muskets, and we don't give a damn about when they die. We hate that we get to see them alive and doing good.
1 in 5 or 1 in 6 people in the world was subject of her family. And it's an astonishing extent of global power. When she became queen in 1952, the prime minister was Winston Churchill. The leaders of the USSR, China, and the US were respectively Stalin, Mao, and Truman. These were figures who were, of course, associated now in our minds with a vanished era, and the queen herself long outlived them. And I think one of the consequences of that is that the empire, which largely disintegrated under the course of her tenure on the throne, had this kind of public face in the form of queen that actually survived well into the 21st century. So, I find myself reflecting on this occasion at, of course, some of the things that Priya pointed out, the longevity of a person who, by virtue of a uniquely privileged birth, had a ringside seat to all of these amazing events, and also had a remarkable passage into her later life. But, normally the death of a 96-year-old woman wouldn't account for, any headlines whatsoever. And the fact that she was still sort of with us into this radically new world, I find, really a sort of moment for reflection on what kind of visions people have for a global order, and I think this is a really important moment.
See, them youngsters,
for trying to
them youngsters, they got it backwards. Y'all want to smoke on something? Here's your time. Quit disrespecting one another. Let's come together and have a unity in the community. Queen Elizabeth, fatty. Y'all don't give a damn about that shit. See, we need people like me with the megaphone, so make all of y'all feel good and knowing that, damn, there's somebody out there feel just like I feel. I wish I could say that. I'll say it.
Might look like in a period, obviously, of both national crisis for the UK and in many ways global crisis with, of course, climate change and the rise of authoritarianism.
And on that issue of, many commentators, and it's not only British media that is only covered.
Hey, how do y'all like that these people copyrighted the Bible? How that make you feel too? Oh, that Queen Elizabeth. Oh, Lord. That Queen Elizabeth go hard. Goodness. How do y'all like the fact that them people copyrighted the Bible when they pull their little King James version stunt? And now every time you go get a Bible, every time your people is pushing the biblical texts on us in the form that it is, they get a little pinch off the top. And they trying to tell y'all they don't. You know how many Bibles been sold? Them people are still eating off the Bible, man. You see what type of leeches and roaches these is? They ain't had nothing to do with none of them texts, man. None of they people did, bro. But they eating off of it like they have done all of our work. That don't even make no sense. Just ask yourself that. We already know all the adventures in America that came from slavery up into 1920s, 30s. Anything that you had that was used labor, that laborers used, a black person came up with it to make the work easier. They wasn't coming up with none of that shit. Are you crazy? They would take the black man's idea, put their name on it, and a bunch of them would be sitting there talking about, yeah, I'm doing this for you now. I don't want nobody to know that you can think and read now, boy. I don't know how you did this, but this is good, boy. I don't know how you did this, boy. And just like everybody know the story of Jack Daniels and how Jack Daniels stole the ingredients to his $1 billion his $1 billion liquor from a black man. And then they had the nerve all these years later to come on with the name of it. If anybody know the name of the black man, you can put it in the chat. And then they had the nerve, we're going to help promote the black man and his family liquor. And we're going to let all the members of his family, they can have good paying jobs, corporate jobs at the top. Nigga, how the fuck they gotta work for you and their ancestor was the boss? See, this is the nonsense they try to do. You see, to them, making things square, it ain't, look, we made billions. We're gonna split it with you, and then we're gonna give you 50-50 of the proceeds. That ain't, no, hell no. We're gonna help you come up with your own liquor. You can't get that recipe that Jack stole. Hell no, that's ours. But why don't you add a little bit? Because y'all some distillers too. I know y'all still got that dumb. Why don't y'all add a little bit something else to it? We're gonna sell it at all of our so you're gonna be millionaires. That ain't right. And they gotta work for you and look at you and see you every day. And look at this big old building, this Jack Daniels building, and knowing that that was theirs. You stole it.